Okay, welcome everybody. We are moving on with, of course, most exciting topic today, precision medicine, or how precise is medicine today, and what can we expect from the development in the future. Well, I think it would be pretty easy to answer the question, how precise is medicine today? I would say it's not precise at all. Also related to the possibilities technologically we have already now. And it will hopefully really develop to a more precise and more efficient and medicine in the future. We will start with my introduction and then move on with individual introduction and presentation of our stakeholders here in the discussion. I think we have a very good mixture here of people from R&D, from big data, and also from networking agencies. And so I think it's a very good mixture addressing this topic here. And hopefully we will be able to answer at least a few questions later on. Although I think it's a topic for the next 100 years, and we are just in the very beginning of this development. Now, I would like to start also from my part with a small project trying to really realize precision medicine in the near future. We have a collaboration with a company close by in Cologne, and they are developing at the moment markers for asphyxia of neonates to prevent or to have really indicators for patient stratification and for therapy, because there is already established therapy. But there are really very rough and crude criteria as for treatment. So this is something also we would expect will have no problems to be refunded also privately. And money always is an issue, and the problems will increase in the future because, well, precision medicine will be expensive, more expensive than medicine is already now. And this is another example from our institute. We have a project analyzing data from an ICU. So we have a training set or training data. We have a patient-specific prediction model. And we are now implementing here individual patient data into a patient-specific prediction model. So I think this is combining some critical features of precision medicine. What is, first of all, technological development. So we are now in the beginning area. We can really generate the data, or have started generating the data with omics technology, sequencing, and so on. We can also now combine these data, also any kind of data which so far are not used or used maybe for less than 1% for predicting outcome, treatment, and so on. So the data are here already in some fields, but they are not used. So data integration, data analysis, and then consequences resulting from this data, which are already now collected anyway, is, I think, a very relevant issue here. So the question is, what is the current status? As I said, I personally think we are just in the beginning of more or less in the lag phase of a hopefully exponential development. What changes are we going to face in the future? We can discuss what are prerequisites for changes. Yeah. Technologically, I think we already have a pretty good toolbox, but the problems are in other fields. Finally, what is the benefit for the patient? And then, well, this includes also, I think, problems we cannot address all, like ethical problems, economics, and so on. So finally, any development depends on the money, and I think especially in our health system, this is a problem. Also is, I think, one big obstacle really slowing down the development of precision medicine in Germany, for instance, compared to other countries. I would like to pass on here now to the next speaker.
So, ladies and gentlemen, very happy to be here, and I'm co-founder of Precision Medicine. I'm co-founder of Precision Medicine Alliance, and I hope the slides are prepared to give you some very short, quick insights. Now, Precision Medicine Alliance, it's with the yellow button. It's the HIMSS. You jump right in? Yes. So Rainer will jump in.
Thanks, Micha. Let's be flexible. Good afternoon. I'm Rainer Herzog. I'm General Manager at HIMSS in Europe, and we do a lot of things as far as digital health is concerned. As I thought that there might be many people who are thinking and discussing, as they do anyway, in terms of precision medicine being the new golden age, a new golden era in medicine, I thought it might be a good idea to set some, or to infuse some critical aspects or some critical comments to that statement. The general difficulty as we see it, or as I see it, is that with that new data, with that new technology and big data and everything around precision, which leads to precision medicine, we delivering highly noisy data. And that data, the consequence of that is that there is limited use for really doing good group discrimination if you have a lot of noise in your data. And this is especially true if you have diseases which have different causes. It's less of an issue if you have a single cause disease, but it's especially critical if you've got multi-cause diseases, and unfortunately many of our lifestyle diseases are multi-cause. The other challenge we see is that precision medicine only in some instances is applicable and possible, and for sure in a couple of cancer diseases or in the oncology area, but surely not for acute disease. And as a consequence, it will be difficult to scale precision medicine. I will give you a good example afterwards. So I want to raise the question at this point: shouldn't we not forget to invest in technology, in IT, to deliver better care and better health, especially in this country? And I think there have been a lot of discussions before on where we are in Germany, especially in Germany in terms of using IT in a clinical setting, in a hospital setting, or even on a national setting. That is the example I promised you. Why is there sometimes limited discriminative power of personalized medicine and precision medicine? I don't want to go into genomics details, but this is a very prominent example. It's factor V Leiden, which is a mutation which may lead to deep vein thrombosis. It has been discovered already in 1994. Roughly 1 in 20 people carry that mutation, and it may lead to deep vein thrombosis, as I said it. However, it has limited discriminative power if you look to the sensitivity, which is only 5%, which means that all those people having Leiden factor 4 don't necessarily develop a deep vein thrombosis. So, there's not really a difference in treatment. If you have it or if you haven't got it, there's no really difference in treatment yet. Factor V Leiden is the most, I think, the most ordered genetic test in the world, although it is, as far as we're concerned, pretty useless in terms of doing discrimination. A couple of words on the noise. Why is there so much noise in the data, as I said in the beginning, and why is discrimination so difficult? You see, even if you have a mutation like in factor V Leiden, you have plenty of other things which influence the development or the prognosis of a certain disease. So, all these things you would have to take into account. And it's not just the genomics data or not just omics in general, but the challenge is really how do you care for all these personal characteristics and this noise along the personal patient trail or along personal patient situation. Finally, to end on a positive note, of course, there are perfect storms for genomics. And this is one perfect storm, and you all know it is breast cancer. Here, HER2, we have a high prevalence, discriminates well. There is a targeted treatment available, and especially as also there's time to wait until companion diagnostics and test results are available. So in that case, that's a perfect fit, that's a perfect storm. Thank you.
Blanquet. Take Blanquet, please. Okay, Rainer, now I'm jumping in, and my advantage is I'm MD, so still I feel very much responsible for patients. So we decided to found Precision Medicine Alliance for a very simple reason. Today, in economics, the pipeline business is over. So we are living in an area of platform business, and to make precision medicine happen, you need a multi-stakeholder business platform. And just only to state, so for example, in our scientific advisory board, we have Scott Kahn, former Chief Information Officer of Illumina, who knows about precision medicine, knows that Illumina, headquartered in San Diego, is the world champion in next generation sequencing. So why we have to be positive for the future? It's very simple. We will get an united one medical world, because the world of data sharing and big data, smart data and so on can only function when we are united in only one very precise point, which is value for the patient. And measure this value, please. And please listen to Michael Porter from the Harvard Business School, who invented value-based healthcare in 2005 with his group, and who is traveling around the world talking with the governments. 4 years ago, he was in Berlin after publishing value-based healthcare for the German healthcare system. So why I'm mentioning this, why this is important? Because the shift and transformation towards precision medicine will be and have to be supported by leadership. And everybody worldwide who has an MBA or has a background in economics have studied Michael Porter from Harvard Business School, because he's the Pope of business strategy. So he is influencing the leadership globally. And believe me, I met some of these people. There's a change, because we have to stop talking and transform talking to action. And the action has to be globally value-based action. So, short question, who knows this chart is from Nature? These are the top 10 pharmaceutical products in use in the US market. So only the blue ones profit. This is in precision medicine, and this is any more acceptable from the ethical point of view, from the economical point of view, and especially from the individual point of view. And we can scale this with many, many examples. And the second curve also is important. This is the fever curve. Globally, we are spending too much money on healthcare, and this will be an ending curve. So next curve. Well, okay. To summarize what is precision medicine and what is the vision, very simple. 30 years ago, nobody believed we will have smartphones with GPS systems in 3 billion pockets. There are today 3 billion smartphones out there, tomorrow 5 billion. So imagine 30 years in the future, probably we will have navigation for our own health on our smartphone, and we will be the owner of the data. I think this is the upcoming reality. So this was I was talking on the curve. So before I showed you this fever curve of economics, spending too much money every year in healthcare. It's very simple. When it comes to fever, 40 degrees Celsius, 41, there's a point the body will collapse at the ICU. You will die. These systems have no future. So then we are surrounded by digitalization of health, and I'm very happy that a lady is also representing SAP. SAP is very much engaged in precision medicine, and just look on Moore's law. Moore's law is describing how the performance is doubled in 24 months or 18 months, and the price is dumping down by 50%. And then please have a look on the curve only for next generation sequencing. And here now we are under $1,000, so in the future we will sequence for $100. That's not the future, it's in front of the door. So Illumina announced they will have 2 new technologies which makes sequencing again faster and cheaper. And when it comes to time, when you go to the Genetics Institute in San Diego of Reddy's Children's Hospital, they make rapid next generation sequencing and analysis in 48 hours. So we will get nearly and move to real-time precision medicine. So, and then we are coming to the other omics. And of course, precision medicine will only happen when we are scaling. And this is in a way the summary of my intro to fire up a little bit our discussion. Only when we are scaling technology, quality, and especially then scaling of economics, we will achieve our goals. And our goal has to be that at the start, we call it the integrity of the biology. There's a very huge unsolved problem. So everybody who knows hospital business, hospital providers, who knows biobanks globally, they are not ready for precision medicine, and we have to make them ready. This was my input. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for this kind introduction, a little bit of SAP up front. So I'm Anette Großmüller from SAP Health, and I'm happy to give you an overview about the impact of digitalization in precision medicine, of course, shortly. Yeah. So let's skip the trends a little bit, since we had a perfect overview. Thank you very much. And it's obvious that precision medicine is relevant, of course, in order to come up with best value and best outcome for the patient. And scalability is one of the major elements there, and we are not there yet. Totally right. And of course, we see here around us the impact also of sensor data, of real-world data, which is generated by completely new data sources at the moment, which were not used in the past, and we need to embed them and use them for our holistic overview of a patient, of course, also in the future. Genomics, we had a perfect example up also a few minutes ago, is very crucial also, and we understand more and more about the genome, about passenger and driver mutations, about mutation hierarchy, about phenotype and genotype correlations, but it's not the point yet reached where we know everything about what's necessary for precision medicine. I did the genotype-phenotype correlation for metabolic diseases in my research time within the University Hospital in Heidelberg, and which started with different layers, come up over time as a more and more complex characterization. So our vision is to enable precision medicine by bringing together the different data silos, because to really decide what is the best approach for a patient, you need to securely assess the different data silos which are there. And they are there within the institutions, and they are there cross-institutional. So SAP Health is the innovative department belonging to the Innovation Center network in Potsdam. We offer that we can enable technology which enables you to access these different data silos. We do this in real time based on HANA technology, and we do this, of course, in a scalable manner. And therefore, it's a perfect platform technology for precision medicine. We do not want to focus on a university hospital only. We really have a collaborative approach between all the different stakeholders, and the alliance, which was shown before, is a perfect example of the impact of this. So we need to come together in the content that we focus on patient needs, on patient centricity, and also on collaboration and data sharing for an improved decision in therapeutic areas. It's about precise diagnostics, where we bring together genomics, clinical data, about epigenomic data sets, about population health analytics, and all literature which is behind of this, where we really can slice and dice through these data sets based on a holistic platform. I do not want to jump into technical details here, but believe me, technology is there and can help you to support precision medicine and also foster collaboration. We have some very nice examples here in the area of cancer treatment, together with some of the leading research institutions, where we have shown that interinstitutional collaboration can unfold a lot of statistical power and also gather new insights. Let's shortly highlight ASCO, the CancerLink platform, with more than 100 institutions which come together for sharing data for precision medicine, for really learning from one patient and the other patient. And it's around 2 million patient data at the moment. And of course, also within Europe, with the National Center of Tumor Diseases, with the Institut Gustave Roussy in Paris, we really enable precision medicine based on SAP technology. And whoever wants to have more insights on this, please feel free to contact me afterwards. So let me close. We are completely dedicated towards healthcare, and together with Molecular Health, we have also set up a COPE program for our employees to really deep dive in molecular analytics and to enable precision medicine for SAP employees. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. So I have a slightly different view on precision medicine for two reasons. First, I'm not really coming from the digital world, and I'm also not coming from a large corporation that deals with all the problems of how to integrate it in the clinic. We're a small company, we're 15 people, so quite the opposite. On the other hand, that allows us to go into ways which other people have not gone before and do things a little bit differently. And we are involved in developing medical devices, and really Class 3 devices means the device fails, the patient dies, so they have to be precision medicine. And we're interested in heart valves, blood pumps, artificial lungs, anything that is somehow connected to your blood flow. If you look at the development process of these devices, blood contacting medical devices, there is a standard way that has been done for 20 and 30 years. You start with a concept and you go all your way to manufacturing your device, test it, first in vitro, then in animals, then you get a result, and with this result you can actually go back and see if it worked. Now this requires a lot of iterations and is very cost and time intensive. Our process is slightly different. So we start from the concept and then we go somewhat to the digital world, because we go to the computer, simulate the outcome of these prototypes, do as many iterations as we think are required, and then proceed towards the normal process of manufacturing and so on. So that means two things. First, we can reduce the time and cost to market, and that in itself is valuable. But we can also have a more precise outcome in the end, because we can, from the beginning, really look at what we are designing. I'd like to give you one little example. This also shows how we can integrate different techniques now early stage in development of new medicine. Starting from imaging data, which is now available from every patient, we can segment, for instance, the heart that you see here. We can make computer models representing this heart. We can also make these models representing a specific disease or a specific patient group. And then we can use that in combination with computer technology to analyze the blood flow inside these ventricles. So this can look like this. It's a 3D model, but you just see a 2D cut plane. On the left-hand side, you see a normal heart. On the right side, you see a diseased heart. And so far, looking into this while actually having it beating was very difficult. And what we can see on the computer, for instance, is that in the normal heart configuration, we have a vortex that washes out the blood and makes sure that no old blood remains in the heart that could cause diseases like thrombus or strokes. In the dilated heart, a patient with a heart disease, this is completely different. This is not a new result. This has been found in clinical studies a couple of years ago that were published in Nature. But now we can do this for each individual patient within about a day. And that allows us to look at things like this. This is a blood pump that is actually implanted into the patient's heart. This is the most used device today. I have met a patient in the US that lived 12 years with a pump like this pumping instead of her heart because her own heart wasn't working anymore. And so far, these devices were designed completely on the in vitro by intuition. Now, using these technologies, we can actually design them precise for a specific patient group and actually use them to benefit the patient outcomes. So we can actually nowadays, using these tools, do two things. One is we can actually tailor new designs of medical devices to a specific patient group and requirements. Now, I'm not a supporter of saying we can create a medical device individually for each patient because of the cost limitations, the time limitations, and also the certification limitations this will require. We can also read this differently, saying that we can adjust the way we use these devices, the support conditions, to meet the specific individual patient's requirements. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, I would like to point out that we really have a very good mixture of people here from small companies, from big companies, from organizations. And I think we can probably agree at least at one point, well, it will change a lot. And so far we haven't got very far. But I think there are really some low-hanging fruits. So as we have seen in some presentations here, we can already use data which are here. We can use it in a much better way than we are doing so far. So I think this is a really critical point. And the development of precision medicine is not really slowed down by technology or by software development, IT development. It's rather slowed down by quite some other factors. And Dr. Herzog, he mentioned previously that, well, he thinks many data are pretty noisy. So, well, I think you can also make use of noisy data. It's just a problem of the number of patients you have in your database you can analyze. And of course, how you can transfer data to an individuum. So far, most of the diseases actually in Europe and US and so on are due to modifications, mutation and so on in a number of genes here. So actually you have to think about combining information, but as for genomic assessment of diseases, we are far from that we could do, yeah? Because the technology is already fine. It's not that cheap. We would like to have it, but we don't have the data, yeah? Because really to assess the mutation mix in one individuum, you would need millions of patients' observations across decades, yeah? And that's exactly, I think, this is one critical point, and Dr. Blanquet mentioned initially we don't have the biospecimen for analysis so far, and we need a population and based analysis of data across decades, ideally from after birth to the end, actually. So this will change the picture completely, because then we would be able to much more precisely also make a prognosis or assessment for an individual as for diseases like Alzheimer's disease and other diseases. Yeah? Well, you don't agree?
I do agree. I mean, I think you mentioned correctly that the challenge is how to get the data. And I think today from a technical point of view, we have the means available. I mean, we have all the digital tools theoretically available to collect data from different angles, from patients, from clinicians, from all sorts of sources. The thing is, in many countries, we just don't do it, and that is going to be the challenge. So from my point of view, it's less going to be a technical challenge because technology is already there, I assume. But it's a challenge of how we really get it implemented in a healthcare system. Take Germany, for example, where we are light years away from having a digital infrastructure, which I think we need to have in order to actually think about precision medicine. So that is for me the true challenge in it.
Well, action is needed, and action don't mean structural problems and data security problems. We have to focus on our patients, on their outcome. And when even today, in this very modern world, about 50% of the tumor patients in their first-line chemotherapy are failing, and we know better and we can better, and then we have to scale this new technology towards the patients, towards the bedside. And this has happened very strongly at the West Coast, especially in the US. So go there and be part of this future. Go to this prototype centers. And what we will start with Precision Medicine Alliance, we will scale them towards Europe and towards Asia. And this will be not a time like we had it in Europe, that France developed the TGV, the first high-speed train, about 25 or 30 years ago. Then a company in Germany said to the German government, okay, we are too late, but we will have our own high-speed train. And then 30 years later, they are fusioning. We have no time because we have a certain responsibility, and skepticism is not allowed in the sense. It's time for leadership. And take it serious that today we are capable to process the biology of the patient in a standardized way, that we get proper and integer molecular data sets. And these data we have to scale and to share. And I think you are a promoter about this vision and the strategy, and you are at the front line, but you are not alone. You are supported by the Silicon Valley, so you are in strong competition. That's very positive. And my statement is that the provider industry, the hospital provider industry, have really to wake up to be part of this knowledge works and to be in lead and to feel them and to be part of the value chain. And I think the time frame, every day we are losing one day. And so if you would moderate at the West Coast, your moderation would be very, very different.
Just to give one short comment here, of course we see in the US trends which are ahead in context of collaboration in the area of precision medicine, also in the area of bringing together data sets cross-institutional, but we also see in Germany trends into this direction. And just let me highlight the pilots which are starting next year about the data integration initiatives with the different university hospitals and the consortia behind, which are publicly funded also. So I think it's almost in everybody's heads now that something has to happen, and they are also focusing on omics sticks, which is then which means at the end genomics, transcriptomics, and so on. And so they are willing to really use precision data for further investigation, research, and decision making.
I would like to comment on this a little bit from the outside, because I'm not working with data once again. I have one concern. So I'm a skepticist, even though that's not allowed. I'm not a patient.
You're not a patient.
I might be, but
you will change when you're a patient.
My question is, it feels like the hospitals in Europe, at least, are moving very slowly. Who doesn't move slowly are large companies who collect our data, and we give them to them willingly. So my question to you is, how can you connect these companies who have this data available to the hospitals who work at a completely different pace and the clinicians who work at a completely different pace? Is that part of your strategy with Precision Medicine Alliance? Or?
Yes, it's very different to talk online and to talk offline. So in the real meetings with hospital CEOs, they are movers in this field, and we will see prototypes. And the new challenge is that even an hospital group, and I'm missing Rudy today, with over 100 hospitals, is not huge enough for scaling. So it's a chance to reconnect hospital providers, not only nationwide, to reconnect them internationally, because only then we get the right scaling for the measurement. And let me only say one word to this future of navigation in medicine. So what is precision medicine in very brief terms? We are penetrating the molecular field, so we will have molecular pathology. We had 150 years only cellular pathology founded by Virchow at the Charité. Now we are going totally deep on the deepest level, on the genomics level and the other omics levels. This is a totally new area in medicine, which brings the unique patient in the position to get his unique individual molecular diagnosis. And the challenge will be how to navigate this medicine, because we will get signals on the DNA level, on the mRNA level, and on the proteomics and metabolomics. So we will get a pattern of signals called mutations. And to anchor them and to create, and then we have all the other phenotypic data available, and we have so much more data available. But this data has to be anchored very precise on the molecular failure in the human body. And just allow me to mention, sorry, I'm the only MD here, but biology is so complex. I think everybody will underwrite biology. So disease is a next level of complexity in the human body. And when we come to quality, when you compare the level of quality we have in airplane industry and we have in medicine, we have really to jump. And there's no excuse not to doing it. And the scaling process by IT and biology will bring us there. And Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, he had envisioned many years before he died, he said the overlapping of biology, information technology will bring the next huge wave of innovation. And I think he's very right. And just today we have about 300 precision medicine suppliers out there. Some of them are funded with hundreds of millions of dollars. So please wake up. The world is moving. Be with the world. Come on board.
Just a comment, I mean, you said in Europe we are moving very slow in terms of hospitals, and the hospitals are moving very slow. I think we have to be fair and say, you know, this is not true for all European countries. Like, if Holland, Netherlands. Now Estonia is of course too small, as Germans would say. No, I think in some parts of Europe actually we are taking on speed and we are taking on pace. The question is, you know, how can we improve that climate in Europe? What can we do to actually improve the climate for development, the climate for innovation in those countries which are a bit lagging behind, you know, and I think that is the question we have to address, and that is not only, of course, a technical question, but it's a political question, and it's also perhaps a society-related question, and an economic question, of course.
So I can strongly, of course, say that the collaboration with politicians and also publicly funded initiatives as an industry portal is also crucial. And of course, there is also investment from industry needed to drive this into this direction. So totally aware and also very supportive here from SAP side. But on the specimen question, it is really true also that there is a population bias, of course, also by seeing the next generation sequencing data, which is of course related to our Caucasian population mainly. So we definitely also need to speed up and understand what is happening in other populations and what is the diversity there and how precise is medicine in this context then, which was, I think also there was a paper published about this topic this month. So it's a really fascinating topic to really get a higher statistic significance and the higher population which is analyzed at the end by whole genome sequencing.
Can I ask you please one question? So what is the vision of SAP, how to empower patients and to bring them in the field? Because I think they will be the moving power for this change.
Yeah, so we are involved in different engagement scenarios to empower patients. So we are working strongly also in the area of sensor data recruitment, in the area of prevention and adherence, so follow-up management and prevention management, together with the university hospitals, for example, Charité, which has a very great initiative for transplant follow-up management. So we try to spin the loop around the university hospitals and create services above of these hospitals to really engage with the patients early and educate them early, and then of course also get a hint of risk factors which are maybe connected to some chronic diseases in very early stage. Additionally, of course, we work together with patients as a user group and go with them in a design thinking approach through all our different solutions. And of course also then together in an interdisciplinary team with the different physicians which have brought in the co-innovation topics. Yeah.
Well, I think you mentioned that collaboration with politicians is crucial. I agree, but although I think it's really hopelessly slow. Yeah. Because, I mean, we don't even have a functioning internet in this country. We cannot expect have really useful regulation within, I don't know, 10 years, starting with uniform regulation on biospecimen and also about refunding in a system, delivering or providing more personalized healthcare. I think the only progress comes or will come or has started to come is from private initiatives. It will be just driven by the possibilities people can buy who have enough money, and this will drive the business. And I like your presentation where you mentioned that the value is the outcome versus the cost. Yeah, and we had a very brief discussion before and came up with the question also, well, wouldn't it be unethical also not to provide people with enough money with the possibility which are available? Yeah? I mean, there are complicated ethical issues apart from economics, starting from collecting the samples. We don't even have and I used to be the president of a society in this field, we don't even have a uniform European regulation. We don't have analytical standards across Germany and countries, which will generate a big, really big noise in the data. And I think but on the other hand, we are much closer with utilizing the IT solutions or possibilities we already have for the data which are available at the moment.
Well, let me answer to this approach. When you look 30 years back, who had in his cars a navigation system? That's where, like, let's them call the very rich. And thanks to them, it was scaled because it was useful. They gave funding for improving and to bring this in next generations. And what is happening in precision medicine is it's like a blueprint. When you go to the Craig Venter Center, you can bring him $25,000 and you get you come out fully digitalized. You get your Integer data set. And people are doing this. They're spending money for Christmas instead of traveling. They go to the Craig Venter Center. And others, their apps and their services, they scan themselves to get for them the best match with the wine. In the future, this will be the coffee, and whatever it will be, it will also be nutrition. So this is happening now. And it's happening in the sense like it happened maybe with the navigation systems in this German cars. And there were really not functioning and people were really loving, but we have it today in our pocket. So I think we have to start a stronger belief system to get things to move and to take the responsibility we all have together. Don't forget, health is a responsibility for the entire society. It's not us, it's us together.
Yeah, coming back to what you said, I mean, for sure we should not wait until politics come together and come to grips, especially in this country. And I think there are an increasing number of examples where we can see that, you know, other entities in the healthcare system are just, you know, doing things and start doing things. And Techniker Krankenkasse is just one example. You know, we just say, you know, we are sick and tired of waiting to have an electronic patient record. We just do it. I think that governments, especially in this country, will only have one chance to be on top, to remain on top of it, if it would move away from Gematik and if it would move away from even innovations fund is in my eyes, you know, doubtful when you look at the benefits. So only if they would move away from that and say, okay, we just create a framework. We need to create a technical framework, standards, language, interfaces, and a legal framework with legal security when it comes to data exchange and data security. Only if they do that and then give those actors in the market the freedom actually to move forward, only then I think they will stay on top of it. If not, people will just do it, with or without them.
Take, for example, fertility. There are many families out there, they just have this child in vision. And when the technology is not accessible in Germany, they're traveling. So wake up, this will happen in precision medicine when Germany will stay behind, the patients will not stay behind. They want to survive. So I think it will be a mixed movement. And for example, take Denmark. They have since 15 years a national medical data warehouse. They have a precision medicine strategy. So we are surrounded by movers. And what we know so far, that even our politicians, creating their Kleeblatt Coalition or Jamaica, they're very aware of what is happening. Be aware, they're well informed. Also, Angie is well informed. They just need some public pressure, and this we have to create together.
Yeah. Well, coming back to the costs, I think probably we can agree on the point that more precise medicine will be more expensive, but it will not be, it must not necessarily be dramatically different, because it depends on the number of individuals and so on. Because, for example, sequencing technology, sequencing data and so on is getting more cheaper every year, and there will be drastic changes in the next couple of years. The question is really what companies and so on will charge for their service, and how broad the approach will be to address a bigger part of the, already a big part of the population. Yeah?
Well, if you actually consider the outcomes, it doesn't have to be more expensive. If the outcomes are better, meaning you have actually less side effects, less morbidities, it's cheaper, right? So it has a higher upfront cost, but not necessarily a higher cost in total.
Yeah, but cheaper for whom? Who will benefit from it and at when? Yeah, that's the question exactly. Will it be your health insurance, the state, yourself, the company?
That's a different question. That's a different question. It's a good question we have no answer for right now. But it is true that if you actually have a better outcome in the end, also insurance companies will request it, because in the end it lowers the cost on them. It's just a matter of timing then.
So let's talk about data and where precision medicine is happening. So take Morris Cancer Center in San Diego, and please visit Roselle Kurzrock. She is in our advisory board. So they made health economics, and one patient year of precision medicine is much cheaper than today. Just we have a need and value system, because these patients will live longer. So there's data out there. So I don't want to come in confrontation, but you also as professor have really to go there and collect this data, and please work with these informations, because he is spraying informations which sometimes are not true. And we have to handle this issue. And I guess you have also some informations for us and some insights about health economics, about precision medicine.
So, of course, there's the value-based medicine trend all around the globe, and the improved outcome for the patient is, of course, always a discussion, but it's in everybody's head. And what we see at the moment is that insurances are strongly engaging in this context. They are even interested in evaluation of outcome at the end for rare diseases, which is the molecular stratification of every cancer if you go in a very detailed area. And of course it is more of use in a therapeutic approach if you apply the right therapy at a very early, right diagnostic patient with a better outcome than going years over years for tumor therapies which are not efficient and even cause a severe mutational state within a tumor which is not any way therapeutically approachable in the future. And this is also what pharmaceutical industry is complaining about, since they are normally in clinical trials embed patients which are not the real population. So they are strongly interested in a financial and outcome overlap also to find the best population benefiting for their medication. So it's definitely right. I cannot tell you here 10 numbers, which are the law for the future, but I definitely believe that it's not the way that precision medicine will be increasing cost immensely in the future.
That we have 5 minutes left. So I think would be a good time for everybody here, also you, to pose some questions if you have, or finally come to some individual conclusions till date, and maybe a final remark from me, and yeah, then that's it. And maybe Dr. Großmüller, you can start. Well, we are more confused than in the beginning, but on a higher level, right? But I mean, we know the answers, but it's hopeless because nobody will do it.
Yeah, so my last comment here at this point is that I think we can do it, and I think it's in reach. Technology is there, and the education of the society is increasing. The most efficient part is collaboration and a strong partner ecosystem to get there, and therefore I'm looking forward to our work together in the future.
My conclusion is also that we are already doing it, and there are people like you who do it on a large scale and connect different countries, connect different regions, and there are many small companies who do it at a small scale. I was always inspired by a surgeon I met who worked in India, and he worked with Mother Teresa, and asked what he should do. She just told him one patient at a time, and that is, I think, what many people are doing. And if more people start doing that, then many patients can get helped.
Look, I'm an optimist, so I think it will be moving. It's probably not moving at the speed as we would like it to move, especially in some countries in Europe. But having been dealing with this digital health thing like for the last 10 or 12 years, looking at it now is you see actually things are starting to move. Even in Germany, they are starting to move, and people are doing something. So, I'm an optimist, and we will see these things arriving. Difficult to say who will be the main players, how it will, look like in the end. It will, I think, be for the benefit of many patients. Fortunately, for the benefit of the healthcare system, and to that extent, I'm saying, yeah, I'm optimistic. It will come. There's an English saying that you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Very short statement. So the world is talking about the digitalization of medicine. I think first we have to start to talk about the molecularization of medicine, which is the data set basis for this future. And without this future, there will be no digitalization in medicine. So I look forward to have huge partnerships with the IT industry and this movement of digitalization of medicine to promote this molecularization, and biology first and IT second for the patient.
Thank you very much. I think I can agree as for the most point here. Well, we have more optimistic view in the future. I think we can do a lot. We can already do a lot now, I'm convinced. And well, I also agree as for the point that it will be slower than we thought, but this is, well, I think what can you expect usually from almost any project? And well, but it will be a topic for the next 100 years because, as we said, we don't have the data body already. We could get more and more out of it. I'm happy that some of you really think it will not necessarily be more, or it does not necessarily have to be more expensive in the future. Well, I mean, for you as a patient, nothing will be expensive enough if you can buy more lifetime. For the states, the point of view may be different. They have more elderly people not working, but I mean, there are also models you can say they can work longer and so on. So it's a very complicated calculation, and I probably came up with any numbers and conclusions finally. So I think this is more or less the first time we are discussing precision medicine here on this occasion. So it's a very historic session here, and I'm happy you came here and happy for other contribution. Thank you very much.